Hi,
My name is Tracy,
and my name is Lynn.
and together we
are
are Bollocks and Balls. We like to chat
And boy, can we chat.
about the bollocks and balls.
Mainly in our heads, but also about life in general. After all, it's good to talk.
Hello.
Hello, how's thee?
Well, I've brought my sexy voice today.
Oh, get you. You can ring this number on 0800.
Yes, I brought it along today.
How many minutes are you charging for a phone?
How many minutes am I charging?
No, that's not. Oh, fuck, I can't even get that right. How much are you charging per minute for this sexy voice?
Oh, I'll have to think about that one. Not sure I've got the energy for that.
No, me neither, to be honest, love.
Don't make cough.
Damn, can I not make you cough? Are we not allowed to laugh during this episode because it's going to make you cough?
Should we try that?
What, not laughing? That'd be
You've got no hope.
I was going to say.
That's an absolute no-hoper.
It is a no fucking hoper. There's no way that that's going to happen on this earth whatsoever.
Not at all. No. No, it's fine. Absolutely fine.
Do you know this is our 16th episode?
Is it? Sweet 16. I wish.
Do you remember that far back?
Just.
What were you up to?
Do you know,
Go on.
right? 16. Well, I was reading a post today from some of my schoolmates. 44 years ago I left school. So I was 16 then, wasn't I?
Yes.
44 freaking years ago.
That's a long time ago.
It'll be 44 years next year.
That's a long time ago.
That's a very long time ago. But I bet some people listening to this aren't even that old.
Can you imagine not even being 16? Can you remember back to being 16?
Vaguely, yeah.
Can you remember how you felt at 16 and what? Because you think, right, at 16, if you said we would be doing this now at our age, can you imagine what our response would have been at 16?
Yeah, what the fuck's a podcast?
What's a microphone?
Yeah.
What a headphone.
Don't talk rubbish. How do you do that? Digital stuff.
What do you mean you talk and people
Still had a
listen
bloody, I was still going at the phone box then. We had a phone in our house on a cord. With a shared line.
Was it attached to the wall?
No, it was, I mean, the cord was, you couldn't walk away with it. Yeah, but, yeah. Yeah, you used to stand in the hall on a phone call, it was freezing. And my dad wouldn't let me use the phone to phone me friends because it was too expensive. So I had to go to the phone box to do that. People keep library books in phone books now, not phones.
I remember reverse charging the call once to my mum when I was out. I shat myself. I thought she's going to kill me for doing that because it costs much.
Funny, isn't it? And you used to answer the phone with your phone number.
I can still remember our phone number.
Yeah, I can as well.
I used to go, hello, Chard 3416.
Yeah, I used to say that, didn't you? Who used to say that? Spaxton 433. It's funny, isn't it? Why did I do that?
I have no idea.
Let people know what number they rung, because they just rung it, for God's sake. Can you imagine doing that now?
Yeah, if we all pick up
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
we all pick up mobiles going up, yeah. Then reel off an 11-digit number in our mobiles when we answer them. And pretend we don't know who's calling because it's not come up on the ID.
But can you remember having that conversation like, oh, they say one day you'll be able to see people that you're talking to. It's like, now we carry it around in our pocket.
That's it. You think the things we carry around in our pockets now have more memory and power than the computers we would have had as kids.
Yeah, all you had was little green letters. You didn't have any pictures on your screen.
And they were huge. Did you have it where they like wheeled them in at school? Or
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think we ever had them at school, actually, saying that.
I think I remember.
No, we didn't have computers at school.
I remember.
Pen and paper, my day.
Chalkboard. It was a feather and a quill in my day, and an ink pot.
Yeah, no, we never had computers at school.
I think they started to come in just as I was leaving. I reckon in the 4th or 5th year we might have had 1 or 2.
Funny, innit? There was even certain lessons I wasn't allowed to do because I was female.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's saying true. We weren't allowed to. Oh, I did do woodwork at some point, but.
Yeah, no.
What were you not allowed to do?
I'm not allowed to do technical drawing because I was female. And I had to go half a day every week. I had to go to college to learn typing. Only the women, only the girls.
I know, my mum made me do typing.
We had to for the school. We didn't get a choice.
Oh no, we had a choice, but they did typing lessons late after, and my mum made me do them.
Yeah,
you'll always fall back on that, Lynn, when you need it.
Well, everybody was going to be a secretary, weren't they?
Yes,
I left school with the construction drawing just because I could. At college.
It was like a nephew.
Yeah, it was. That was all because they wouldn't let me do tech drawing.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
What did I do?
We could sample woodwork. We weren't allowed to sample metalwork.
No, I didn't do
sample
metalwork.
woodwork, but we weren't allowed to do it. So we could do a sample lesson, but we weren't actually allowed to do the lesson.
I did something in woodwork because I remember making a fish for my dad. It's a bit random. I think I might have still got it somewhere. But yeah, we weren't allowed to do metalwork.
No, we weren't allowed to do metalwork. How times have changed. Can you imagine that now?
God.
Haul you across the coals.
The uproar.
Yeah.
And so quite rightly so. Well,
absolutely.
Why shouldn't we be allowed to do that because we're girls?
I know. What difference does it make? Whether you've got dangly bits or not?
Well, I don't think it makes any difference whether you've got dangly bits or not, as to whether you could do metal work or hold a saw, to be perfectly honest.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Yeah.
It's mad.
Mm.
Do you wish you could go back to being 16?
Oh, I don't know about that. I was very angry 16.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not sure. Not sure I was the loveliest person at 16.
See, that surprises me.
Oh, am I a nice person now?
Yeah. Well, most of the time. Except when I get questions.
No, well, it's just understanding it, isn't it? I didn't understand what was going on around me. So you become angry because I didn't know how to deal with my emotions. I had lots of emotions going on from the environment I was in, which made me an angry person because I didn't know how to express myself in any way. So it's now I know that was just suppressed because I was suppressing everything, and I was angry at everybody because you're programmed to be angry at everybody else, aren't you? And blame everybody else and never actually dissect it and look at it and ask questions why. So yeah, I just blamed everybody else. But it was nobody's fault. Now when I look back, it was nobody's fault at all. It was just sometimes because everybody else is in that situation of not really knowing what to do or how to express it. So we were in this whole little bubble, really. So
and they didn't talk about emotions in those days. They certainly didn't in my day either.
No, bless. Especially like my dad, and he couldn't talk about emotions at all. Because I don't think they did, especially men then.
God, no, it's not something that cropped up. They wouldn't talk. It wasn't mental health. I'm thinking mental health wasn't a thing 30 years ago, let alone flipping, 40, 50 years ago.
Exactly. And I think then that had a consequence on them as a couple, because couples never talked
Oh God, no.
at all.
No, it's not like you went to couples counselling in those
No,
days.
no,
It was
no.
all shoved underneath the carpet and let's pretend it's all okay.
I think I've mentioned this before, but I remember watching a video about the Abergavenny disaster where they had the mud landslide onto the school.
Oh, yeah.
And it showed the men in a line, and it was real footage, black and white footage, and it was silent. It was really eerie, and oh my God, it broke my heart, because the men were all in a line, obviously digging through the mud, lifting out the children. A lot of them were dead, and then passing them down the line, and people were handling their own children, and then the women were stood on the mud bank. None of the women were helping, because that's not what they did then, but they were all stood on the mud bank watching this happen. But there was no emotion from any of the men or any of the women, because that wasn't how it was done then. And they interviewed some of the couples afterwards, and the women said what happened then, if they'd lost a child in the disaster, the woman was sent away for the day, and the men would clear the child's room of every possession. It was never spoken about again.
Oh my God.
How horrendous is that mentally?
That's horrific.
Yeah. And it just made me think, oh my God, it was none of their fault. But it's just, then they were programmed to believe that's how you behave, that's how you dealt with it.
From losing a child.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awful.
Yeah, it is. And like you say, that has such a long-term effect. And I know from personal experience through my husband that has an effect on other siblings with it, the other children within that family. It's not just the parents that. Yeah.
And I know when I lost my brother, I think he was 38, I was 28. My dad couldn't deal with that at all.
No.
Every time you mentioned his name, you could watch my dad's mouth just dry up, and he'd leave the room.
Yeah.
Whereas my mum would actually talk about him, which was good. But and this is why you realise it's nobody's fault.
No. This is it, isn't it? But like you say, at 16, you don't, do you?
No, and because I was in an environment where they didn't really share emotions unless it got a bit heated, and then everybody would have a good old sort of shout. So I was angry at them. I was angry at myself, obviously, and I was angry at the world.
A lot of kids are at 16, I think. That.
And I often see that now. You look at some kids that are in school and are angry and they're lashing out, and they get the blame for that. Whereas actually, sometimes you just need to sit down and talk. It's just that they don't know what to do with all these emotions that they have no idea what to do with, and what is, what we're led to believe is right or wrong emotions, and good or bad, whatever. And they don't know what to do with it, and then they've got nowhere to go with it. So and then you become angry, and then people see you as angry, so you think, well, I'll just be angry because people expect me to be angry.
Yeah.
So I'll just be angry.
Because that's what people have always said I am.
Yeah. And the minute you are angry, then you can't then be something else. No. Because you're also caught in that program trap yourself. Well, it's people expect me to be angry now, so I can't be anything else. I couldn't sit and cry now because that then you would go, well, that's not who I am.
No, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's funny, like you say, other people's expectations. I remember having a conversation with a friend of my eldest son, and he would have been about 16 at the time, and he was working in a local shop in town, and I'd gone in to go and get something for my youngest son for scouts or tent tours or whatever. And I remember having a conversation with him, and him saying, and I was chatting, and he was going. He decided he was going to sign up for the army and stuff like that. And I was like, "Good on you." We were talking, and he had been tarred with his elder brother had been a bit of a a bit of a rogue at school and stuff like that. And when he started the same school, they were like, "Oh, you like your brother," and all this, that, and the other. And they almost tarred him with the same brush. And his words, I remember the words really clearly, were like, "Well, when they told me I was like him, I thought I might as well be like him."
Yeah.
Even though,
there you go.
you know, and he had that foresight to say that at 16, probably nearly 17, the fact that he'd been so he thought he might as well live up to that because that's what they thought he might be like, even though they hadn't.
Yeah. Whereas I had the opposite, because my oldest brother, who was 15 years older than me, he was really good at school. So then when some of the teachers when I started school were still there, and I wasn't bad at school, but I wasn't good either. And then they would say to me, "Why aren't you like your brother?" So then because I wasn't like my brother, that's the opposite effect. Well, I'll just be
So you just
a complete ass then.
Yeah,
because you expect me to be like that, and I'm not like that. So I'll just be an ass. Yeah. So I was an ass.
So that wouldn't have, like you say, so that wouldn't have helped, would it? By the time you got to 16, you were being angry because.
Yeah.
It's funny, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, I can definitely remember feeling like I didn't fit in a place. Because I was quite lucky in a sense. I got on with most people. But I didn't really feel like I sat anywhere. So I think like a little bit lost, really.
Yeah.
So then you're not quite sure where you fit and whatnot, and then it's hard.
It is though, isn't it? But I think
that's very normal now.
But I think that is. You find out more that our brains aren't developed enough to understand a lot of stuff at 16. No. Even if we'd all like to believe that we're quite mature at 16, I always thought I was mature at 16.
We think we know everything.
You know?
I think we know everything. We think our parents have done nothing.
What is that?
I know.
We forget that they've had a life.
Oh yeah, but we don't, do we? We don't ever want to listen to them. I think it's that phase of being told as well, isn't it?
I think it is that becoming independent, isn't it? And being of your own thoughts and making up your own mind. But I always think, because I remember the transition with mine from secondary school to like college, so it would have been like that 16, 17, but how they, not off the rails, but just like they suddenly go from being told what to do at school all the time, innit? And you need to be here and you're not allowed out the door, and they're given in the 5th year a slightly little bit more lenient, aren't they?
Yeah.
I know some of the teachers treat them a little bit more like adults when they reach the 5th year or whatever year it is now.
Yeah.
11, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, 11 or something.
Yeah. But then to go to college when then like they're completely, you turn up for your lesson, we're not going to chase you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't have to stay on the premises. You can go. It's just like they're like, shit. What the fuck do we do with that?
I know, it's really difficult, isn't it? It's really difficult for everybody, and I think it's so easy to forget what you're like at that age, and I think the trouble is, as a parent, don't we do get screwed up with what because we want the best for them.
Yeah.
But then we put a bit of we want the best for you, and then we don't allow them, or not that we don't allow them, but we try to put a little bit of control in there to try and lead them a certain way, which is what we should not do.
No, I don't.
And I think the world is very different now, isn't it, from the jobs that we were brought up with, to the jobs that are out there now, and you just got to let people be who they are more. And I think if you give people that independence to do that, you allow that to evolve.
Yeah, you allow. I don't think that we allow children a lot of the time to make mistakes.
No, we don't.
We never And I know for definite, I've never wanted my kids to make the same mistakes I've made, and I've never wanted my children to feel the way that I have felt. However,
they don't.
They do both. They've done both.
Yeah, and we've all done that. But actually, they don't feel it. How do they know?
And but this is it, isn't it? You're like, don't make the same.
Because as a parent, you feel that pain too, don't you?
I can't do that. No, and that's the thing, isn't it? And then, but I think that then that gives you. I know it gives you things to realise why your parents were like they were.
Yes.
When you were a teenager.
Yeah.
I can see my dad was really strict with me as a teenager. I had to be in some stupid time of day. Do you know what I mean? And you're not allowed to don't stand outside too long while you're with your boyfriend and stuff like that.
But that isn't it. That's like a two-pronged thing, because they do that. You take that. He doesn't trust me.
Yes.
But actually, it's not you he's not trusting. It's the other person.
Oh yeah, he definitely didn't trust that boyfriend. Trust me.
No.
He hated his guts.
But how we perceive what they're saying, isn't it? Or what?
Yes. Because I remember, God. So I'd been with this chap since I was just before I was 15. And my dad hated him. My dad didn't have a good word to say about him at all. Didn't like him at all. I don't think it helped that he rode a motorbike, so that definitely didn't help.
We all have one of them, don't we?
So do you know what I mean?
Or more.
In Tracy's half a biker group. But, so like you say, isn't it? He didn't trust him. But I remember getting really upset. Oh, I can't even remember what it was. And like you say, going, but Dad doesn't love me because he won't let me do this. And my mum's going, no, it's okay. I was like, oh no. But like you say, feeling that he didn't love me or trusted me.
Yeah.
But like you say, it wasn't that. No. It was just the bloke he didn't trust.
And it's the outside world in a whole, really. It's not even just that one person. It's like you're having to allow your child who's growing up into this unknown world to them, that whether it's them or then or now is a scary world.
Well, yeah,
where they're going to get hurt, and you've got to open the door and go on then.
That's the thing. And you think back in those days, the world wasn't, in my head, and I'm sure I'm probably talking out of my arse, the world didn't seem such a scarier place.
No, because you were a young adult, and it never does.
But it doesn't, though, does it?
But
no
thank
fear.
God, because otherwise
we'd never
do anything, would we?
No, I wouldn't have flattered my eyelashes to get in a nightclub at 16. No, of course not.
You wouldn't.
Or drunk Pernod and black until my mouth was a really funny colour.
Drunk Pernod and black till I was out cold. 50p a shot in the cellar bar. It didn't even last the hour.
It used to be my tipple of choice.
Oh, no, once, that was it. Never again.
Oh, no, I used to like Pernod.
Oh, no. No.
I could get away with being quite happy on that and not like... Yeah. I did drink too much once and came home and fell off the toilet.
No.
My dad had to pick me up off the toilet floor. Which I found clearly highly amusing. And apparently so did my mum. I'm not entirely sure my dad was overly impressed.
Oh, yeah. It's funny, isn't it?
You can't even get away with that these days.
Well, no, because God, we used to get in pubs and clubs and all sorts at 16, didn't you?
God, yeah.
Couldn't do that now. Funny.
No, you can't. They ID you for everything.
Yeah.
My middle son still gets ID'd now. He's 29.
That's funny, isn't it? Yeah, but then haven't you got to look under something like 27, isn't it, or 25?
25. So, yeah. If you look under 20.
Yeah.
I say to him, take it, because when you're my age, you'll be glad the fact that you've got decent genes.
I got ID'd, I think it was about 6 years ago.
No way.
I got ID'd in Dunelm because I was buying a massive kitchen knife. Well, I could have kissed the man.
You got That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I was well chuffed.
How old was this man?
He's only a youngster.
Oh, that'll be right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I made my day.
I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, brilliant. I think he was probably new, so he was doing it with everybody.
He felt he ought to.
Yeah, just to
Slightly.
make sure so he didn't get it wrong.
Because you haven't got grey hairs and like 30,000 wrinkles over your face.
Exactly. Excuse me.
Oh, I love it. Oh my God.
It's funny. So yeah, I don't know whether I'd want to go back there or not.
See,
Would you?
I see what I was going to say. It's really funny. So when I started doing a lot of this work, there was a point I kept saying, all I want to be is, I want to feel how I felt at 16. So there was part of being probably, I don't know, probably a few months within being between 16 and 17 that I really loved. I felt really confident. I was happy. I was not really giving a shit. I wasn't doing too much people please. Well, that's a lie. I did people please because I went out with John. So that was people pleasing. Bless him. My husband now. That's fine.
Well, I was just working that out in my head. Why were you people pleasing?
Because I wasn't that fat. I'm right, okay. Then now I need to explain this.
John, put your earplugs in. Don't listen to this.
So, right, okay. If I take a long story short, I started working for a local supermarket in the town where I lived.
Mm-hmm.
It was a new supermarket that was just opening up. I moved from the lovely Gateway because the Gateway had shut down where I had gateways. So yeah, I used to work in gateways. And that was shutting down. So this new supermarket was opening up. So I got a job there. John got a job there. He was my manager. We used to get on really well, just as like colleagues and friends, and we used to get on really well. I didn't think that there was an ulterior motive. Clearly there was on his part. And he asked me out and I really wasn't bothered because I was having a bit of a time. I was like, I'd broken up from my previous boyfriend a few months earlier. I was loving life, all that kind of thing. So I wasn't particularly bothered. So yeah, I did a bit of people pleasing and went out with him, and the rest is history, as they say, 30 odd.
I love it.
35, nearly 36 years later.
What a lovely story.
But yes, but it's not that I didn't like him, it was just that in my head.
At that time, you weren't looking at it in that way.
I wasn't looking at it. We got on really well. We were really good friends and stuff, and we used to have like a real giggle at work and all that kind of thing. But yeah, I was just busy going out,
having a good time,
all that kind of thing, really. So, but like you say, in that time, I felt confident. I felt relatively happy during that time when I was on my own and I'd got over heartbreak. But yeah, I just kind of felt okay and good with myself. So when we started, it was just like, that's where I want to go back to. That's because that's the only time I remembered feeling particularly. Yeah, but it was just a few months between the ages of maybe 16, starting early in 17. Yeah, it was just the fact that I was out, enjoying life, meeting new people. I can totally get that point of view, because I think leaving school, don't get me wrong, I had some good laughs at school. I love school for the laughs and all that. Didn't particularly like school for anything else. Not sure where I fitted in there, and then left school, I got a job and did like college 1 day a week and loved that job. It was great. Yeah, I'm not sure I was, I can't remember really how I felt. It's funny, isn't it? And I don't know whether I'm looking at that through rose-tinted glasses, because I only remember that bit. If I'm honest, if I've got to think in that time, I broke up with that previous long-term boyfriend. I remember the heartbreak of that. I remember having a massive argument with a friend of mine I was due to go on holiday with. And that's definitely pivotal. That was definitely pivotal in how that changed how I behaved from there on in the fact that she asked me to be honest with her, and I was honest with her against my better judgment. I was honest with her, and that just all blew up. And that I know for a fact that was a key point in pivoting and changing me, where I kept stum. So that
right, now hang on, I have to ask a question here.
Go on.
Why in your better judgment?
I'm guessing there was already part of me that would have not been honest, because I'm guessing within my family dynamic it didn't always do well in telling people how you truly felt or the truth. So it didn't always. So I'm guessing there was already a part of me that was, I shouldn't say anything because it was going to upset somebody. She wanted the truth. So if I tell you the story, me and her were really good friends. I was also good friends with her then boyfriend at the time. I knew that her then boyfriend at the time was cheating on her. And he told me that too, because I was friends with him. And she asked me that question.
So you were just honest?
I was honest with her, but that backlashed in the fact that she thought I was trying to break him and her up because he told her that that's what I was trying to do. As you do at 16, do you know what I mean? You kind of like, you stir the pot. Do you know? So yeah. So
because now when you look at it, you know it's just everybody looking out for themselves.
Yeah, this is it. And
you told the truth. You were honest, which is what you should have done.
Yeah, but like you said,
she took that because that's not what she wanted.
She didn't really want to hear that.
And he's going to cover his ass.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah. So that, like you say, so there are parts.
How amazing that then shaped everything going forward for you.
Yeah, it did.
Just that.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, so like you say, I'm sounding like it was all lovely at 16. Like I said, I'm seeing it through rose tinted glasses, but actually there were points within that weren't.
But that's good you see it like that, because I look at it as quite a red angry time, whereas actually I had a lot of fun in those times. Even you know, there were bits in there that were uncomfortable. I actually had a lot of fun in that time, but that's not the feeling I remember.
It's funny, isn't it?
Whereas I think I probably had more fun than the other way, but that's not what I remember. It's really interesting.
How so we've seen it in complete opposite ways.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah, I remember that feeling of being confident and thinking that's the only time in my life I've ever felt that way.
Whereas I look at that time in my life as quite a negative time. Whereas actually, if I truthfully sit with it, I was 16. I was having fun. I just, like, you leave school, I got a job, I had a decent job, had a lot of fun in the job, loved my job. Learning to drive, so then 17 going in, you know, freedom. Yeah, funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Interesting.
It is. Yeah. See how we remember that.
Yeah.
And how we both see that in different ways.
Yeah.
And I wonder what 16-year-olds now would see their life in 30. What are they going to remember about being 16 now?
Funny, isn't it?
I love it.
It is.
And I love being able to look back at it now with the eyes that we've got now, with the knowledge that we've got now.
I'd like to be 16 and go and get 13 weeks holiday, you know? That would be quite nice.
Yeah, it would be. That would be. Like I say, I'd like to go back, but not necessarily. That's not true. Take that back, Lee. I don't want to go back. But it would be nice to be 16 again, but know that what I know now.
But you wouldn't do anything.
That's it.
Would you? You wouldn't be out in the town getting bladdered on vodka, would you?
No, I don't do well on vodka, love.
No.
I'm not very nice on vodka.
Or Pernod.
No, because you can't buy Pernod anymore.
No, you can't actually, can you?
Which is wrong, by the way. Why can you not buy Pernod? Pernod makers, why can you not buy Pernod?
It's not popular. But see, you wouldn't do all those things, would you? I wouldn't be riding around on the back of a motorbike like 100 miles an hour.
Because you'd be, but that I suppose maybe that's why, right? Maybe that's why our brains are not developed enough at 16.
They're not supposed to be.
Because they're not supposed to be. Because it allows you to do all the stupid things that you want to do without any fear.
Yeah. And you've got to do those stupid things because otherwise you don't learn. And okay, some people just keep doing stupid things and never ever learn. But well, who are we to judge when it's time to grow up?
Oh no, yeah, growing up sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, you can go 30 weeks holiday.
No, fucking don't.
You should do certain jobs maybe.
No.
I don't want to do them. Yeah.
Like you say.
Yeah.
Costs a fortune to go out and get pissed these days too.
Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, I can remember the Pernod night at the shop. That was a good night for 20 quid. I don't think I spent 20 quid.
I was going to say, I don't even remember how much I
spent about 5 quid and I was absolutely rat ass.
I can't remember how much it used to be to get in the Palace nightclub. Couple of quid, I think.
It's funny, isn't it? I used to drink pints of bitter dash. Whoever drinks bitter dash? Me and my mate John, we'd go out and go, right, who's under the table first tonight? 2 pints of bitter dash, please.
Oh my good God. You tell us, just reminded me. Oh my God. So one of the first times me and John went to the pictures together, so I would have been 17. And it was when the cinema was on the corner of Staple Grove Road and Station Road, before it got knocked down and turned into flats. And we went, what did we go and see? Oh my God, I think it was either Top Gun or Fatal Attraction. And he moaned like Billy, it cost him £5 for the two of us to go in.
Tight ass.
£5 for the two of you? £2.50 each. I should have known then. I don't know why I stuck with it.
Well, I could buy a packet of 20 fags for 48p.
No.
Yes. 20 Embassy number ones for 48p.
Is that what you were smoking at 16?
Or that and Benson and Edges. Benson and Edges on a payday.
Was that your treat on a payday?
Benson and Edges were my go-to, but I did start on Embassy number 1.
Oh my good God. Kids, don't do it. In fact, nobody does it.
No, don't do it.
I'm vaping now instead.
Oh yeah, don't do that either. Cost you a bloody fortune. It's ridiculous.
What, vapes still cost a fortune?
No, smoking in general.
It does.
God knows what it is now. I think it's rather a lot.
I think it is like £10-12 a packet, isn't it?
I think it's more than that actually.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
Bloody
bugger.
bugger.
To do it now. But yeah, did it then.
Wow.
For £1, I could get 20 fags and a single record.
God.
For £1. Yeah. Them were the days.
Woolies. Do you remember going in Woolies and getting the singles when they used to come out on a Thursday?
Yeah. Brilliant. Funny, isn't it?
Taping the top 40 off the radio on a Sunday.
Yeah, and the ass for DJ would always bloody speak when you didn't want him to.
Desperately trying to press the fucking pause button. My mum used to listen to the top 40 radio. She used to do the ironing on a Sunday evening and she always used to have the top 40 radio on there.
Brilliant.
Yeah. But yeah, stopping it.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Used to do mixtapes for people.
It's funny, isn't it?
My ex-boyfriend did that for me, a mixtape. I remember I was doing me a mixtape. Oh, those were the days. Do you reckon kids do things like that? They do mixtapes.
Well, no, because no, they don't.
Well, not mixtapes, but yeah, they do. John sent me a Spotify list that he'd done for me.
Okay.
That's your equivalent
That's
of
That's your equivalent, isn't it?
Of a mixtape.
Yeah. Funny, isn't it? I still forget that though sometimes, don't you? You think, I'm not going to buy that CD, and then I think, I've got bloody Spotify. I don't buy anything.
No, exactly.
It's funny, but do you forget?
I think you do though, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny how all the old stuff's coming back as well, isn't it? Like your vinyls and your tapes and you know.
Yeah, except nobody's got a tape recorder.
No. And for those youngsters out there that are going to take to doing tapes, you need a pencil.
Yes, because the little buggers unwind.
You'll find out why when you try and take it out of the tape recorder and the tape left in there.
Cool, yeah.
Love it.
Gutted, aren't you?
Now look.
Or you've got a scratch in your vinyl and then it was...
Oh, I love it. See, look, we've reminisced for 40 minutes about what it's like in our day.
Yeah. And I bet all those people, if you go all through the generations, will probably say exactly the same thing, be saying exactly the same. Oh, I wouldn't like it in my day, we used to do this.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, you know, it was like 2,000 years ago, and they were saying it as well, and in 2,000 years' time.
That's what I mean, innit? Do you reckon, like, the 16-year-olds now, when they get to, like, 50 and 60,
They're
are they...
the same. Just the same.
And what are they going to be speaking into?
Well, God knows.
Do you reckon they'll all be like holographs?
Probably.
Holographs. Is it holograph or hologram?
Holograms.
What's a holograph?
No, what's a hologram?
I don't know. Have I just made that word up?
No, I think there is a holograph. They're holograms, though, aren't they?
Yeah. Like Rimmer off a Red Dwarf.
I've never seen it.
Yeah. What?
I watched Red Dwarf.
And she moans the fuck at me. And on that note, I'm leaving that. I can't believe you've not watched Red Dwarf.
No.
How dare you?
No Harry Potter.
That's even worse. We can no longer be friends. You've not watched Red Dwarf or Harry Potter. No, that's it.
2 things compared to your 22 things that you haven't watched. I'm having none of it.
Thank you to listening to our Sweet 16 podcast.
Yeah.
You've been listening to us reminiscing about the good old days.
Yeah. Go back and visit them now and again.
It's got to sometimes, isn't it? You know?
Absolutely.
And just notice how much we've changed in these number of years.
Yeah, but also think about things you've actually told yourself about those. Because I think we've realised today what we're telling ourselves, maybe not quite the truth.
No, I think we've been telling ourselves a lot of bollocks and bull.
Yeah, and we do that a lot,
I think, for a lot of number of years.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, you have a wonderful day, you gorgeous lot, and we'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. So much for listening to Chatting Bollocks and Bull with Lynn and Tracy.
If you would like to see or hear more of us, you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or of course by subscribing to the podcast.
If you share this podcast with others, you will make 2 old birds very happy. And finally, if you want more bollocks and bull in your life,
and who wouldn't,
then sign up to our newsletter. The link is in the show notes.
That's all, folks.
Love ya!